really, which was the response to the bill that I would have tabled. But it was really to join the rest of my CARICOM colleagues as we would have created the scenario to bring both the president of Venezuela and the president of Guyana together with SILAC, representative from Brazil, the United Nations, and others from the Latin American community at Argyle International Airport in St. Vincent, of course, that being led by the Prime Minister of St. Vincent as the lead for SILAC at this time, and the Prime Minister for Dominica being the chair of CARICOM at this time. I want to report that that meeting was a critical meeting, for we all would have been hearing about what is taking place in South America, and that we had determined, and I had determined as well, that we had to do everything to make sure that there would not be any type of conflict in the region. Madam Deputy Speaker, this of course was very, very important. Because as I reflected with all the things that I presented in the budget, if we were to have that type of conflict in the region, it would affect our lives and livelihoods, the economy significantly negatively, and would have made it very difficult for us to achieve what we seek to achieve. So that is why it was so critically important that I went to St. Vincent. The other matter is, I want to say that the president of Guyana, Dr. Irfan Ali, and the president of Venezuela, President Maduro, that they had the opportunity in that forum to speak face to face. And then we all would have seen that after many hours of discussion, negotiations, and so forth, that a statement was released. And the crux of the matter is that that statement is saying that there would be no conflict in the region. That, I think, has been or is a tremendous achievement by CARICOM and regional partners in really sitting down and hammering out an agreement to prevent conflict. Why is that important, Madam Speaker? It shows that we have matured as a region, and we are maturing as a people as well. We're in a world where we see war between Russia and Ukraine, war in the Middle East, war in parts of Africa, that we had declared that this area of the world is a zone of peace. And the zone of peace was, of course, threatened. And we stepped up and did what was necessary to ensure that peace continues in our beloved region. Madam Speaker, history will speak about it. I want to say that the Prime Minister of St. Vincent, the Honorable Ralph Gonsalves, who we see as a senior statesman in the region, his leadership was fundamental, critical, and important. So was the leadership of the Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, the leadership also from President Lula of Brazil, who intended to be at the meeting but could not because of personal issues, and sent his chief advisor to that meeting. And we have set up a framework to continue the dialogue and to make sure that we maintain this zone as a zone of peace. I want to say to our people, let us not take our peace for granted. We have to protect it as much as we can. Because if it's lost, it is not easily regained. We in the Caribbean, we don't know war. We don't understand what it means to have a bomb drop in a village, houses destroyed, and people dying. Not saying that would have happened to St. Kitts and Nevis, but could have happened in our neighboring countries and our brothers and sisters in this part of the world. We don't know that. We have our issues with interpersonal violence here and some crime here in the region that's affecting the whole region, but that is different to war, Madam Deputy Speaker. And so I want to say that thus far, the region has done exceedingly well in keeping this zone as a zone of peace. I think CARICOM, CILAC, and all of us involved, the whole Caribbean community, showing its maturity that dialogue can resolve issues and war should never be an answer. Or if it is the very, 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 very last resort. I think the CARICOM deserve a round of applause. Thank you. Madam Speaker, I want to say that the budget that was presented, that I had the opportunity to present, is a transformational budget. It moves the needle and it shifts the paradigm. This is what this A-team promised the people and what this A-team has brought to the people. I, as the leader, had the opportunity to lead, or have the opportunity to lead this team, all competent members, really dedicated themselves to the development and the advancement of St. Kitts and Nevis and establishing us as a sustainable island state. Madam Speaker, it is a bold statement to the world and to the region. It is a bold statement that even though we are small, we can think big and create realistic plans that can be achieved. Madam Speaker, when we present this to the region and the world, people are intrigued by what we have developed here in St. Kitts and Nevis. They're not only intrigued because it looks good and sounds good, it is because it is really achievable. And not only is it achievable, it is transformational and has the ability to create a new paradigm, a new path that others can emulate in terms of developing sustainable countries, sustainable region, and a sustainable world. As is often said and was mentioned in a calypso by the leader of government business, the Honorable Convis Maynard, with small but with tallow. And I use those terms when I spoke to the international community, and I say it is our colloquial terms that we use to really mean we are small, but we are bold. And we have demonstrated that over and over again. And so, Madam Deputy Speaker, I am proud of what we have presented, responding to the needs of our people, responding to the needs of our people on all levels, Madam Speaker, from conception to the day that we depart this earth and go to the great beyond. That budget touches the lives of our people at every single level, Madam Speaker. Well, Madam Speaker, I'm going to come back to that and show how it does that. But I want to respond to a number of critical things that were said from the opposite side. Let me start by saying that the member from number 7 is often absent from Parliament. He doesn't have the respect or the bare courtesy to be in here when we are debating matters of national importance. The people from number 7 who sent him here, their voices are not being heard, Madam Speaker, because for self-interest, he is often absent, not showing any type of camaraderie within the Parliament, even though there are differences, not showing even the basic courtesy of listening to the most important bill to be brought to the House, which is the Appropriation Bill. He was absent, Madam Speaker. Day one, everybody else here except him. Totally disrespecting the Parliament and not representing his people in terms of listening to the most important bill that is to be passed in any year within the Parliament. The second day could not be found. And from what I gleaned, he did not even send an excuse, Madam Speaker, to the House to say, I'm absent because of a personal matter or had to do anything, totally disrespecting the House. Check his record, Madam Speaker. Often absent. And then, Madam Speaker, he comes to the House. The very people he keeps disrespecting, no wonder nobody was on the opposition side. That's my opinion. Then why should we sit and listen to you when you don't even give us the courtesy of listening to us? Even at the remarkable things, Madam Speaker, all of us who came, and those who did not come, send their apologies. Because I think the Premier might have been traveling at that time. I was traveling last and I could not attend. That can happen. You can have a personal issue. But he came just to present to the single teen that he had to present to and left. So the other teens meant nothing to him, Madam Speaker. That is the kind of selfishness and self-centeredness I'm speaking about. And the disrespect to the Honorable House, Madam Speaker. We try to conduct ourselves in a particular way in this House because this is the people's house. And we must show respect from the gallery, from the House itself, Madam Speaker, from the House. And so he came to speak. And so when he was speaking, as his time ran out, the rule says that you can only get extra time if you were to ask your fellow parliamentarians to give you that extra time. It is a courtesy extended by your fellow members. So, Madam Speaker, nobody else over on the side listening to him because he did not come to listen to anybody else. And then he's asking for a special courtesy that is normally extended after he would have been disrespecting this House and the people by not even being present to listen to the budget being presented last Wednesday. And so, Madam Speaker, it is his disrespect and his lack of really seeking to build any bridges that can be built in this House. And even if he does not want to build any bridges, at least the common courtesy and decency of listening to the budget. So how can you then, after that, ask people to listen to you? Ask your colleagues in here to give you extra time. How does it work, Madam Speaker? It does not work like that. Respect given, respect gained. That is how it is done. And so I ask the member from number 7 to show more respect, to represent his people in this honorable House, and do not allow this House to be all about him. I brought up that because he definitely discussed it. Madam Speaker, we all have differences in here, but we have to extend the common courtesy, and in return, we will receive the common courtesy. We have to set examples for the young people out there, Madam Speaker. Show respect, give respect, and it will be returned unto you. It is a principle of life. Madam Speaker, I also had the opportunity to listen to especially the member from number 5 and number from 7 speak. And I wonder if they drop out the sky and were never in government for the previous 7 years before this 15 months. Madam Speaker, I swear they drop out the sky and they were never in government. But let me remind the people, because they think that the memory of our people is short, Madam Speaker. They think that our memories are short. And so many times they would come in here and say things, hoping and thinking that people forget. When we took government on August 5th, with that overwhelming victory, Madam Speaker, I myself given the opportunity to make history in constituency number 8 by winning all the boxes from Keon Otleys all the way through up to Odgis St. Peter's. When we took over, Madam Speaker, and we began to examine what was left. What was left was a cesspool, Madam Speaker. A government that was deeply corrupt because it had collapsed, Madam Speaker. And what we saw, I never thought I would see in St. Kitts and Nevis. I thought these are things that I would see in movies, reading books. But to see it in St. Kitts and Nevis really caused me to think that democracy is fragile and we should not take it for granted. We should always seek to defend it. It also told me that the vote is sacred and it must not be sold or be battered, but it must be protected and respected, because if you get the wrong person in, Madam Speaker, your country that you would have taken years to build can disappear under your feet. Madam Speaker, I can talk about corruption from every single level. Corruption in land distribution. Corruption, Madam Speaker, at the levels of corporations and some banks, some financial institutions, Madam Speaker. Corruption in offices, corruption with projects. It's like everything had to be corrupt. Even corruption in agriculture. In the AG's office. Sustainable development. Community development. Tourism. Down to education, Madam Speaker. Public works, so don't talk about that, which I'll touch in a minute. Madam Speaker, almost every single thing that was touched was corrupted because the corruption came from the head, Madam Speaker. One of the things I listened to was to hear the Deputy Prime Minister speak about the peace program. Madam Speaker, I cringed when I listened to him, Madam Speaker. I cringed. And I cringed because I never thought that he would go down such a dark road, Madam Speaker. Remember, he was the person who was saying all the time that he knew nothing about the so-called peace program. He told the country that, I know nothing about the peace program. All of a sudden, the member has become a specialist on the peace program. A specialist overnight. Member for number 5. He spoke to it. Yes. The member for number 5 became a specialist with respect to that program. And remember clearly, he said he knew nothing. In less than 2 years ago, he said that. Madam Speaker, but I have it here. The peace program, as they call it, let's go back. Let's remember, as I drag your memory, there was a set of men in St. Kitts and Nevis who had been caught up in crime, who came together and decided they wanted to end the crime situation. Many of them were locked up, Madam Speaker, and I spoke about this multiple times. Some of them were sent to Nevis. People could not find their family members, Madam Speaker. Their intentions at that particular moment were good. Their intentions were good then. However, those intentions quickly became corrupted when a corrupt program was started and people introduced the concept of paying for peace. Madam Speaker, you can't pay for peace. The young man did not ask for to pay for peace. You can't pay for it. There are countries that thought they could have gone down the road of doing that, and look at where they ended up. The good thing about St. Kitts and Nevis is that those young men reached a point that they themselves determined that they could not continue along that path. And instead of helping them to do what is right, you introduce them to a corrupt peace, so-called peace program. Madam Speaker, this type of program was introduced in Jamaica. Madam Speaker, look at the state of Jamaica today. when they established the Dunship under some peace program. Look at the state of Jamaica, Madam Speaker. Cannot extricate from the fabric of its society the concept of criminal activity because of those significant errors made in legitimizing criminal activity. But the men did not ask for that. They asked for a framework to create peace, as they called it then, but it became corrupted because of corrupted politicians. Madam Deputy Speaker, I want to also put this point forward with respect to that in creating this program, we can look to other countries that sought to do it. Jamaica. Haiti, Madam Speaker. Look at the state of Haiti, where you have criminal groups that have taken over Haiti today, displaced the central government, have demolished democracy, and criminal activity has become the order of the day because they introduced a corrupt pay program many years ago, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, let's also go down to Trinidad. We remembered when there was a commissioner of police who spoke out, and there's an article that came out about what happened in Trinidad in the 1950s to 60s when they thought they could have paid, Madam Speaker. The difference between them and us is that the young men did not ask for that. The young men asked to be helped to create a better scenario and situation for them. They were taken advantage of and introduced to this corrupt program called Pay for Peace. How can you pay for peace? You'll be extorted in the end. You don't do that. Then you had Trinidad, Madam Speaker. Look at the state that Trinidad has entered in. Then you go over to Central America, Madam Speaker. Head to Belize, head to Guatemala. The same sort of program that was being seen to be introduced, Madam Speaker. And what has that left these countries in? Cannot extricate the criminal activity from the fabric of their society. Let's go over to Italy. When the government then thought, Madam Deputy Speaker, that they could pay the mobs and the mobsters, what they did, create bigger mobsters and bigger mobs that did not only threaten Italy, but threatened North America and even came down into the Caribbean, especially Cuba before 1959. Madam Speaker, the evidence is clear. So if I know that, and we know that, why is the member from number 5 touting a program that he said he knew nothing about, Madam Speaker? Madam Speaker, let me delve into what happened here, because people need to know how much money and how this program was used to embezzle money, Madam Speaker, to embezzle money. Madam Speaker, there was an audit done from the development bank's perspective. And I've spoke about the audit here. But I want to give you something about the funding into that program, Madam Speaker. That's why I don't understand why the member from number 5 came in here to speak to that. He don't know me got the files. I got the files, Madam Speaker. And I'm going to read the files today. Sources of fund, just speaking to this program. ALP, Peace Program, $58 million, 328,366. That's real money, Madam Speaker. The grant portion, $1 million. Where did that money come from? Your taxpayers' money, Madam Speaker, Madam Deputy Speaker. Over $58 million total up to October. Madam Speaker, the total was therefore $59,328,366. Use of funds, Madam Speaker. Tracked wages and advances to participants, $37 million over the time period. Administration and allowances, $2.4 million. Materials and supplies, 1.3 million. Trucking and disposal fees, 1.2 million. Other unallocated payments, 328,000 plus. Bank fees and service charge, 89,000 plus. Madam Speaker, Madam Deputy Speaker, let me pull our country's attention and this honorable House's attention to use of funds, a part here called untracked cash wages. Untracked. Nobody knows where this money has gone. Untracked. Cannot be traced, Madam Speaker. Down a dark hole. Disappear. Poof. He gone. That amount, Madam Speaker, $22,244,810. Does the member from number 5 know about this money? He said he knows about the program. Does he know about the $22,244,810? Gone down a dark hole. Poof, he gone. Let me say it in fancy terms, Madam Speaker. Untracked cash wages. Madam Speaker, this is the program that he's talking about, that he knows everything about. He himself has said it. The member from number 7 has also said it. This is what is happening. This was used to embezzle money, hide money, fill the pockets of politicians and their cronies, Madam Speaker. This objective wasn't to bring a long-lasting peace and to rehabilitate anybody. Had persons been rehabilitated, you think the condition could have researched? Never. That is what the program was used for, and that is why we are saying the government has to get back its $22 million plus, and we know more is missing, Madam Speaker. And then coming to tell the country about this program. This program was setting us up to destroy the fabric of our society. I remember talking to the Prime Minister of Jamaica, and he said to me, PM, don't go down that road. He said, do not go down that road. Don't do it. I'm speaking from Jamaica's experience. Warn me. And that is why, Madam Speaker, we are saying that this is not the answer. This has been a corrupted system that embezzled money, robbed the country of tens of millions of dollars. And had the money been really spent in a legitimate program to rehabilitate people, people would have been rehabilitated. Almost everything was corrupt. Deeply corrupt. That is why I don't know why the member from number 5 is following the member from number 7 to come talk about the peace program. Tell them I got the files. Madam Deputy Speaker, I have the files to answer them. They speak about it, so I'm going to speak about it. That is why I said most of the money ended up in pockets of politicians and their cronies, not the participants in the program. A lot of the participants in the program, they were used, abused, and misused for politicians to find a way to embezzle tens of millions of dollars. And I want to say that term again, Madam Speaker. It is called untracked cash wages. That's money coming out of the development bank in plastic bags. The cash that went up into the boardroom for them to split up like it's a gambling game, Madam Speaker. These things took place at the development bank. But thank God we were able to salvage the bank. And so therefore, Madam Speaker, it is clear that this program was to embezzle money and to create donship here in St. Kitts and Nevis, which would have forever destroyed our country. I can't go down that road. Madam Speaker, we have challenges because some of these challenges come because of setting up a program like that. This is the natural progression, the natural outcome of setting up a program like that. It makes things worse. We have the examples to show it, Madam Speaker. That is why I'm saying to the people of this country, we have to have a holistic approach and not to attempt to do a program like this that has demonstrated that in the long term and the medium term, things get worse and significantly worse, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we understand, of course, that we cannot stay here. And so therefore, we have shifted a program, debunked, the program is debunked, to a legitimate program called the Elevate program. That program, Madam Speaker, and I will go somewhat into it now, it is a program that will be launched on Thursday at 4 p.m. At its new center. There will actually be an office for the program. The program will be properly established, Madam Speaker, and we had significant work to do to unearth what was taking place here in St. Kitts and Nevis, legitimizing criminal activity and implanting it into the fabric of our society. Madam Speaker, I have already said that the member from number 5 said he knew nothing about it. The member from number 7, he knows about it, and they will answer to the missing money at the appropriate time. But Madam Speaker, what we are seeking to do with the Elevate program, which is a program to rehabilitate and get people, of course, ready to be totally reintegrated into society. Madam Speaker, we have taken our time to correct the inconsistencies of the past program in its structure, management, and especially financial accountability. Having to investigate and dig through the nooks and crannies of the program was quite challenging, Madam Speaker, but everything hidden must come to light. It's as if this program had roots you could not find, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, what people don't realize is that this program was established over the COVID period. And during the COVID period, people were locked down, and that in itself helped our situation here. But Madam Speaker, let us begin by noting that the only thing that is same about the program is the intention of the founding members. A lot of the members still do not want to go back into a life of criminal activities. And there are some of them who are still want to be in a life of criminal activities, which we can't accept. But this program is to give what I call better opportunities, because at the same time we are strengthening law enforcement, we want to also give better opportunities and a pathway to rehabilitation and reintegration, Madam Speaker, not a corrupt system to create a downship. Madam Speaker, Madam Deputy Speaker, an intention that was skewed for political and financial gain. This was the program that we picked up. When we came into the program, there was about 1,053 persons in the program, Madam Speaker. And what we were told is that at the Development Bank, the decisions were being made of who to add. And those who were on the board of the program, they had no idea of who was being added to the program, Madam Speaker, undermining the program, Madam Speaker, because the decisions were being made from the Development Bank. Madam Speaker, I sat with them and they explained that they did not know. They did not know about the extra money and the millions. That is what they said to me. So this was being hidden from them. So there were 2 programs running. One that looked like you're helping here, and another program where the money was going down a dark hole and God knows where it ended up. Madam Speaker, but we have transformed. We have decided that participants through the registration and consultation process, they have shared their interests with the program. They also gave us information on the last program as well, Madam Speaker. And that is why we are simply saying that that program cannot continue, because no rehabilitation took place, but tens of millions of dollars was spent, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, what do we seek when it comes to the Elevate program? We want to do a number of critical things. One, we want to do training. But the training we have brought on youth skills. We have also sat with TVET, and TVET is now going to be certifying. We have also consulted with the STEP and other departments and agencies. And we are not going to separate people by where they live, Madam Speaker, because that is strengthening the idea of having a criminal organization. We want people to do it based on interest. And that is going to help to break down, Madam Speaker, a lot of the differences that you find from community to community. Because what used to happen in the past, you have a community here, you do something here, you have one here, and it will not and it was not actually trying to break down the differences and helping people to come together. So they are going to be trained, Madam Speaker, and be given the opportunity to have a meaningful transition back into our society. Madam Speaker, persons on the program will be evaluated, because you cannot be on a program like this for life. Otherwise, it means that the program is not working. You're not rehabilitating anybody in terms of helping them to gain the necessary skills actually to move on. So we have done all of that to make sure. So Elevate will be located on the Bay Road. The participants will now have a fixed space for meetings and trainings, as well as access to computers for career planning, like completing job letters and business planning. Staff will be available in the office from Monday to Friday to address any issues. And the staffing will be a number of professional persons, including those who deal with conflict resolution and psychologists as part of the staff as well. Training will take place twice per day, 4 days a week. Before, Madam Speaker, Madam Deputy Speaker, all they used to have was 20 minutes. Madam Deputy Speaker, 20 minutes. What can you do in 20 minutes to transform people? They will be getting training 4 days a week, Madam Speaker, twice a day, obligatory, with small groups in the office and various community centers, Madam Speaker. Therefore, each participant will be training at least one, will be training morning and afternoon, and this training is mandatory, Madam Speaker, mandatory. Madam Speaker, information is also more transparent. There will be a launch of our website. Our website will be launched on Thursday, Madam Speaker. This is a real program. People will be able to see what is happening in the program. This is not no dark program and no dunship program. This program is catered to help the people to really be rehabilitated and reintegrated in society, Madam Speaker. People will be able to go to the website and be able to see. You have any website for peace? You see any? You can't see any. You know where the money going? Nobody know. No accountability. You see anything table in here to say where the money going? Can't. Madam Speaker, can't. Because what happened is that the money just disappear, poof. The positives, not just the negatives, that the opposition suddenly are so aware of. It seems under the previous project information was power and was withheld from the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. That is why the member from number 5, when he was the Deputy Speaker, he said he knew nothing about the program because he did not know. Deputy Prime Minister, because he did not know. Madam Deputy Speaker, he did not know. Could not have known because there was no information given to the members of Parliament, to the members of Cabinet, nor to the country. It was a dark program, hidden, because they were using it to embezzle money, and the audit suggests that.
The members from 10 and 11, no?
They have no idea about all of this that took place. They said they don't. You see, 10 doesn't know, 11 doesn't know. They don't know.
Honourable members, Honourable Member for St. Christopher 8, you may continue.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. No, Madam Speaker, all the participants, those not in group chats or with access to persons, can see the same information with additional private portal planned for stakeholders and participants, respectively. Additionally, because training in how to tender for work and write community projects is all a component of the program. Local tenders, internal tenders, and so forth will also help to get our people in the mainstream, Madam Deputy Speaker. We have also included the public with our logo competition. We had a logo competition, Madam Speaker, because you cannot deal with this issue without the public being involved. And we will unveil the winner on Thursday when we are opening the office, Madam Deputy Speaker. We are taking this to the next level. Did it take us a little bit of time? Yes. But it's because we had to dig deep and unearth the corruption that was involved, because had we continued this would have led us to a path where there was no return, Madam Speaker, Madam Deputy Speaker. So we are going to unveil the logo, the winner of the logo competition. We are going to unveil the website so that people can go there and have information. We're going to unveil our work program. Madam Speaker, Deputy Speaker, we put out to have experts write our modules. So we have professionally written modules as to how we are going to develop the program, Madam Deputy Speaker. This was not in any way a rush. It was well organized, but we did it as quickly as we could have under the circumstances. People from the region apply.
Yes.
Even people from the region apply to help us with this program. This is going to be a legitimate program. So this is going to be another paradigm shift. And we are going to create the model. Just like we are creating the model for the sustainable island state, we are going to create the model of how the Caribbean can deal with the issue and the scourge of crime. We're not going to pay for peace, as they call it, because that only full politicians' pocket and their cronies and did not help those who really needed the help. We are not going down that path. We are going to set up a program that can really rehabilitate people, reintegrate them, stop the recruitment to criminal organizations. Madam Deputy Speaker, you can remember that when the police officers were on an interview on Freedom FM, and the police officers were asked about what is happening in the schools, the primary schools. They had primary school students who are aspirants to be part of the so-called peace program, Madam Deputy Speaker. Aspirants on the basis that they get money and they ain't got to work. Madam Deputy Speaker, that cannot be the values that we value as a country. Again, the program was not set up to help the people who needed the most help. It was a way, a facade, really, to present to this country something that was being used to embezzle money and setting us up to fail for many decades, as in the examples that I cited. And so, Madam Deputy Speaker, we are going to have what you call the approach to violence from a public health perspective, which we will have multiple aspects to it. For example, Elevate program is only going to be one part. The cadets are now building out. I just spoke to the commander. We have gone back in the schools to recruit young men to the cadets. When I got there, the cadets only had maybe 10 people. It's hundreds of young men we're going to have in cadets again.
And we're doing sea cadets too.
And we're going to have sea cadets. And we're going to have the scouts. We're going to have boys mentorship. Madam Speaker, we're going to have multiple programs to get our boys on the right path, Madam Speaker. So while we are dealing with the issue through the Elevate program, we are making sure that our boys are not recruited to any gangs. This is going to be a comprehensive approach under the big banner of citizen security. While we do that and we are strengthening our security apparatus, we are going to give our people better opportunities. That is why in January we are going to have the Better Opportunity Summit, Madam Deputy Speaker. The Better Opportunity Summit. Sorry, Madam Deputy Speaker. He's okay, Madam Deputy Speaker. I think he hit his knee. Yeah. It's not his head, it's not his chest. He put up his knee. Hit the funny spot, as we call it. But it will ease off. Rub it. Don't be afraid. Your grandmother said rub. It works. When you rub, you involve other nerve endings and it eases the pain. So grandmother was right when she said when you get hit, rub. Wow. It's scientifically prudent to do such. Madam Deputy Speaker, so basically what I wanted to bring here is to say that we have a comprehensive program that is going to be launched. We have discussed a number of ways in which we are going to make sure that our boys don't go to gangs. We are going to deal with this situation, even from the sports end. We put back sports in schools, right? Which is critically important as well. We have multiple boys clubs that we are going to support so that they can really get going. So in a great sense, Madam Deputy Speaker, I am really looking forward to the build-out of what we are seeking here. And what we seek here is a comprehensive plan that when all of it now fits together, it will be a plan that can be adopted by other countries, Madam Deputy Speaker. Just want to share some more information. So I think that our country would have a better idea of what the Elevate program is about. You'll be able to go to our website, call our office, visit the office, get information. Nothing will be hidden, the budget of which will also be presented, of course, and so we are determined that we will make a significant change. But we had to get a program, a legitimate program, together to save and protect St. Kitts and Nevis. Madam Deputy Speaker, I want to say the other thing that was mentioned is that they were speaking about, and I will go on, investments. I think when people look at this government, they would recognize that this government has invested heavily in the people. We have invested in the dividends, never before done in St. Kitts and Nevis. We have invested in preschool by increasing the subvention or increasing the allotted amount per student or per child, not per household, per child. We have increased it 100%. We have determined that free college for all of our students. We have created the fund for children who get sick and need attention, especially overseas, to have expensive surgeries, and many children have been saved. We have increased the number of scholarships, and the Minister of Education spoke to that. We have reduced the interest of student loans, and students are now saving $40,000 plus. We have introduced elderly daycare, Madam Deputy Speaker. We have given assistance at the pump when you go to buy gas. Each gallon you buy above a certain amount, we are paying $2.25. We have kept the tax rate low, both incorporated and corporated tax rate. We have not allowed to go back up, as has happened in other countries around the Caribbean. We gave the back-to-school $250 voucher program to each child, not each household, to each child. Wow. We have reduced taxes on food. We have reduced taxes on building materials. We gave our people the reset so that they can get back their electricity, water, and a $1,000 bonus for Independence 40. We are converting the PAP to LIFT, which will benefit our people more. Madam Speaker, Deputy Speaker, we have supported through SKNIS in the amounts of about $50 million, both businesses and private homes. I can go on and on. There is no other country, and I speak from the United States of America all the way down to the tip of South America, that has given so much support to its citizens as here in St. Kitts and Nevis. None in such a short time. We have invested in our most important resource, Madam Deputy Speaker, which is our human resource. The record speaks for itself. Madam Deputy Speaker, when people in other countries see what we are doing in St. Kitts and Nevis, they are astonished. They are saying, what is happening in St. Kitts and Nevis that cannot happen here in my country? But it's because of this caring government. But we're not only caring, we are competent. We know what we are doing, Madam Deputy Speaker. We know what we are doing. And that is why I think people need to know, and our citizens are aware, that we made significant investment in our human capital. That is the first place where the investments were made. I know as a medical doctor that after COVID, our people were anxious and many were depressed. Those who never had mental illness developed mental illness. Some became so depressed and suicidal that they hide it and they don't even share it with their family members. Because it was COVID, and I can bet that over maybe 50% or more had some sort of mental illness issue. Mental illness, of course, don't talk only about psychosis, but it talk about anxiety, depression, changing moods, and so forth. This happened because human beings were shut down for 2 years. You didn't know where your next meal was coming from. A lot of people went through hunger during the COVID, especially the middle class people, because they were the least to reach out and say, look, I need some food. Madam Speaker, I had a program through my foundation, the CARE Foundation, and we fed hundreds Maybe thousands of people we fed.
You too?
Of course, you too, you had it too. Yes, and I know you fed a lot of people. Yes, and we fed a lot of people. And so people were locked down, out of work, didn't know sometimes where the next meal coming from, didn't know if they would be alive or dead based on what the initial information said. Did not know if they should take the vaccine or not take the vaccine. It was a significant amount of stress for a human being to go through. So I know our people had mental health issues as well. But we are coming out of it. I can sense it. I can feel it. And that is why I said this government needed to support our people significantly to get them over that hump. But I can now feel that we are coming out of that hump. And we are coming back to who we are as a people. And I'm happy for that, Madam Deputy Speaker. But now we have reached the point now where we see that our projects can now get underway. Madam Deputy Speaker, they spoke about procurement. Procurement what? And that is why I want to take this time to go into the Bastia High School matter, Madam Deputy Speaker. Give me a chance to go into the Bastia High School matter. Let me make sure. Good, so I'm going to go into the salary matter, but I want to go into the Bastia High School matter. Okay, good. So I was told that is right here on my tablet. Okay, so I have some notes here. I'll go into them, and then I'll come back to those. Okay, good. All right, so I have it here, Madam Deputy Speaker. I will go through. The member from number 5 admitted it was not intentional. I read it word for word, Madam Deputy Speaker. No disrespect to the member from number 5, so I take that back. The member from number 5 admitted during his budget debate that 1, Team Unity tried to get the new Bastia High School done as an emergency procurement. That is what was said. 2, the original monthly fee proposed by the company, Inotech, was more than the amount paid for project management services, Madam Deputy Speaker. Madam Deputy Speaker, there was no procurement of Inotech's project management services. And this is government's fund. No procurement. And so when you hear them talk about procurement, you want to know, they were really in government for 7 years and don't know that I got these files? Madam Deputy Speaker, I got the files. And I'm reading the files today. There was no procurement. Madam Deputy Speaker, in 2018, after the government signed an MOU with Inotech, the government requested payment. They requested payment of EC $7,171,709.60 to Inotech for works done by Inotech in respect of the new Bastia High School project prior to the execution of this MOU and any and all costs of any and all obligations arising under the MOU, and later called the pre-construction management fees, Madam Speaker. Pre-construction management fees. Who do you think they're fooling? Madam Speaker, breaking all the rules, no procurement, getting all kind of money, and then come back to talk about pre-construction management fees, no procurement. It means that no other company in St. Kitts and Nevis had the opportunity to even bid on the Bastia High School. Madam Deputy Speaker, the Ministry of Finance, in response to the request, said the Ministry of Finance is concerned that the MOU is heavily skewed in favor of the contractor and offers little protection to the government. Further, the current request for release is not consistent with the rules and procedures governing releases and payments for services. Madam Speaker, this came from the Ministry of Finance. No procurement, breaking all the rules. They were concerned that they could end up in court, because I don't know where this is going to end up. But they were protecting themselves, saying this is breaking all the rules and procedures governing releases and payment for services. Why is it the member from number 5 came in here to speak about these things? For a whole year, I said nothing about the member from number 5. But the member from number 5 came in to attack this government. And I got the files here following the member from number 7, who call him all sorts of names that I would not repeat, Madam Deputy Speaker. I am respectful. I cannot call him those names.
And yesterday he was so supportive. Yes, member.
How can I call any member in here these names? He fired the member from number 7, fired the member from number 5, and called him all sorts of names that I don't dare repeat. Oh my God. He got fired too. Well, there's a lot of people got fired. Oh, you got fired too. Oh, you got fired.
That's why nobody was here last night.
Nobody. Yeah, because he fired everybody.
We fired him after he fired.
Honorable members, let us continue, please.
Madam Deputy Speaker, this is what we have here. The Ministry of Finance told them this is inconsistent. It is highly unusual, they went on to write, for the government to make full payment for major services in advance. Highly unusual. Not practice, but they're asking for exception, no procurement, and coming here to talk about no procurement taking place when we have these files. Nevertheless, the Cabinet went on to approve $7.1 million to Innotech in 2018, 10% of the estimated total cost of the project. Despite 2 legal opinions saying that giving a contract to Innotech without procurement is illegal.
Totally illegal.
Illegal. They had 2, Madam Speaker. I'm telling you, 2 opinions that told them that it's illegal. In 2019, the member from number 5 then was the Minister of Education. Then you had another member from number 1 who is no longer here. Concrete. And, and the Cabinet approved EC $19.7 million to Innotech on construction management consultancy contract or construction period management fee. $19 million. Under this illegal contract, a further $14 million was paid to Innotech between February 2021 and June 2022. I think some people in here might have been out afterwards. For construction period management fee, despite no construction occurring, Madam Deputy Speaker. Therefore, a total of $21.5 million was paid out of the Treasury to Innotech, and not a brick was laid.
Wow.
I mean, and you come in here to talk about no school going to be built? If you give us back the $21 million, you'll see how quick the school built? $21 million and not a brick laid, Madam Deputy Speaker.
I believe we should do something about that.
Yes. I believe so too.
Madam Deputy Speaker, let me tell you how this goes. Over $700,000 per month paid. And imagine when government change, you know, they're writing me to give them money. Me?
Me too. They write me too.
Writing me to give them $700,000. Look, the payments here, Madam Deputy Speaker. We have it here. 7th October 2022, Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, Minister of Education, payments to Innotech Services. February 21, 3 million. March, 1 million. April, 1 million. May, 1 million. June, 1 million. July, 1 million. August, 1 million. September, October, November, about roughly $500,000, well, 437,000 each, to a total of 14 million. That is how the payment scheme was.
What's the last month there, June?
Yeah, June 2022. Well, June 2022. Huh? By the time August come, they're writing me for the July money. Well, who gonna give them money? Me? May want to go jail? Not me? Yeah, August they're writing me for July money. And then the government don't jail. And not one block. I went to look for blocks. You find blocks?
That's hog meat over there now.
Hog meat?
Yeah.
What is that, boy? That's the kind of thing that'll go up?
Yeah, for rabbits.
For rabbits and so.
And hog.
Madam Deputy Speaker,
We have to do something about
I am simply saying that the official records show that $21,599,709 was paid out of the treasury to Innotech, and not one brick was laid. Lord, man.
You know, major investigation.
You know, we just say monkey when them things happen? Lord. Advantage. Alado. Advantage. This is taking advantage of the people's money.
construction drawings.
And can you imagine that people have the heart to come in here and talk about procurement?
Regardless of $40 million.
And talk about procurement? But Madam Deputy Speaker, the reason why some of our projects have taken a little bit longer, it is because we are following the procurement laws. I hear them come in here and speak about the water tank project. Even that went through the procurement. It came as an emergency because lack of water is an emergency. An opinion came from the water department to suggest that the water situation in Keyon is dire. And you had to go through the full procurement process and still go to the procurement board in order to determine who would win the contract. Even in that circumstance, we went through the process. And so when I hear them in here misleading the people that this did not go through any procurement, again, it is easy to see. The records are there to show that it had to go through a procurement process, Madam Deputy Speaker. But let's look at some of the projects, Madam Deputy Speaker, that will come online. Geothermal. Every day I hear about this geothermal, I am very excited. Even if Nevis were to benefit initially before St. Kitts, I am very excited. Well, how I will not want another country in the Caribbean to do well, especially Nevis. And that is why in September, when it came to me from the CDB, that all I have to do as the Prime Minister is sign for $17 million to go to the geothermal project, I did not hesitate. God, there's nothing to hesitate about. He said he signed a comfort letter. What comfort letter you talk? Letter of comfort.
In 29.
He signed a comfort letter. He said he wanted a comfort letter. This wanted a signature on the bank's document to say, as the Prime Minister, the federal government is supporting this project. That is what it needed. A signature on a bank's letter, not a comfort letter.
Comfort for fools.
And Nevis people ain't no fool. Oh, Nevis people ain't no fool. But he wanted a comfort letter. Madam Deputy Speaker, the records show that since 2019, that CDB wanted that to be signed. Since 2019. And it had to wait until September of 2022 for me to sign and say, man, give Nevis a chance. You can imagine if Nevis get this? And Nevis got all the energy over there?
That's why we're going to make one.
It's not Nevis getting it, it's we getting it.
Good. You hear what the member from number 9, the Premier said, we getting it.
On all of Monkey Hill power.
Even Monkey Hill is supposed to get some of that power. This is, when we discuss this on the international levels, people are very enthusiastic. I sat down with a very important government without calling name. And they said, you sure if we come in to invest, nothing gonna happen?
They asked me the same question.
Because while we were doing this, one party saying something and the next party saying something. And they send some of the investigators on a wild goose chase to look for geothermal in St. Kitts, while Nevis got geothermal. I have the documents right here. They said, go down to Brimstone Hill and see if you find geothermal down there. And Nevis got geothermal over there, ready to go. Ready to go. That is the type of vindictiveness. You can't just come in here and say, oh, I like Nevis people because my father is from Nevis. Well, ask on a man. All you had to do was sign, and the project takes off. And that can be the project that can transform St. Kitts. And if ever a project or resource we have that can really transform these two beautiful islands, that project is geothermal. And so I went to Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. First CARICOM Saudi Summit. I called the premier of NIVIS and I said, I need a high-ranking official who can represent NIVIS to the Saudi government on the geothermal project. He sent me a PS from his office who traveled with us to Saudi Arabia. And when I sat with the minister in Saudi Arabia of the Saudi fund, the CEO of the Saudi fund, which is one of the richest funds in the world, I said I can properly, but I may not be the most appropriate person to represent NIVIS's case. And so he came in, and in the meeting I asked him to please present the geothermal to the CEO. Presented it. Followed it up, connect the CEO, of course, who is in contact with the Minister of Sustainable Development and our Minister of Energy. And Saudi has had a very favorable response and said they are willing to complete the funding of the geothermal project. We met with the International Energy Agency. We met with them in Dubai. We met with the head of the engineering firm, I think he's from Iceland. Correct? Iceland.
The engineer who was there.
The engineer who was there, Iceland.
I don't remember which country.
Iceland. They have geothermal in Iceland. I think a volcano erupting there presently and all. Iceland.
Quite a bit.
Quite a bit. And he said that the NIVIS geothermal is much easier to access than the Dominica's geothermal.
It's closer to the surface.
Because it's closer to the surface. You know what was keeping them out of NIVIS? Because in the last administration, the Prime Minister would not sign to say that he fully supports the geothermal project.
And he wouldn't even give support, verbally or otherwise.
Say he sent some comfort letter. Comfort is comfort to her? Okay then. And Madam Speaker, Deputy Speaker, I'm going to do everything that I can do as the Prime Minister to see this come to a reality. Because this can transform us. This can help to create an energy sector, as the Minister of Energy spoke about. That is why we came here and we supported the resolution that this is a national product or national asset. So that, as the Premier member from number 9 would have said, even people from Monkey could benefit from it in the future. And people can't understand why two small islands with such a beautiful resource will not work together so that all of us could benefit. They can't understand that. And so we have been bringing some closure to that, and so we want to see action there. So when he speaks about projects, I wanted to clear up the geothermal project and to say that since 2019 he should have signed that letter with respect to the CDB, and he did not sign it. And he should not seek to mislead the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Madam Deputy Speaker, to go into some other projects that we'll have, the brand new hospital, we'll be partnering with the Republic of China, Taiwan. We are on maybe the final stage of signing off. The President of Taiwan has already signed. I have already signed. We are going to create that type of hospital setting here in St. Kitts and Nevis for both the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. We need that type of hospital. And we will create a number of programs there that people from the region will be able to benefit from. And Madam Deputy Speaker, that is going to start in 2024. That project is going to be a $60 million project. 60 million US dollars. Convert that into EC dollars. And you see that is about what? 160 million EC dollars in that new hospital to get. And I want to say that I want to thank Ambassador Leon Nathan Nelson, who has really been the government's point person in making sure that this go forward. I want to thank him for his tremendous work thus far. And others, of course, who I thank all the time. Madam Deputy Speaker, what about the housing revolution? They're in here knocking the houses. First, they say all kind of things about the houses. Then we brought in 60, Minister of Housing is here, 60 contractors to have a seminar with the engineer. The contractors said they're satisfied because it's a new type of approach and a new type of technology. We are building 2 model homes. Those model homes are for people to see how the houses look, and secondly, to give our own contractors the opportunity to see how the houses are built. So by the time those are completed, they would know how to build these houses, and so we can go into mass production. In addition to that, we are bringing a factory here, Madam Speaker, to build the panels. So this is a long term. This is going to be used to develop our country from now until whenever. This ain't a short-sighted plan. Sometimes you have to hasten slowly. The planning of anything takes time. But once you plan well, once it starts, it takes on momentum and it keeps going, Madam Deputy Speaker. And so I want to say that the house in Connery is being built, and Taylor's is being built. I am told that the roofing for Connery will be completed by this weekend. They are very advanced there. And I want to say to the Connery people that one lucky person, or family rather, from Connery will get that house free of cost.
Wow.
Free of cost. It will have a picket fence and it will be furnished. And we are going to put solar panel on top so that it can power any some of the devices inside, including AC. So this is going to be the model home. And I'm told that the furniture that go there will stay there, will be for that family. So a worthy family will get this whole package. AC, fridge, bed, microwave, AC. And a picket fence, Madam Speaker. And the rooms are large. Some people say the wall thin. If you put a 6-inch block, it's the same way. It's just that this is built with panels that have steel mesh. Then they are joined by steel, going horizontal, vertical. And then guess what, Madam Deputy Speaker? Concrete is poured. Not a block hole left out. No. Solid like a rock. Not even a Mack truck could knock it down.
10 years warranty.
10 years warranty. Anything go wrong, it is fixed. We are transforming St. Kitts and Nevis. Why do you think people want to partner with St. Kitts and Nevis? It is because we took our time to plan so people can see that we are serious here in St. Kitts and Nevis when it comes to these things. So the housing revolution, Madam Speaker, is well on its way. And NHC has, I think, about going on 200 people already approved.
300.
300 plus approved. Madam Speaker, as soon as these 2 done, the next is houses all over. And we have multiple housing plans that we're going to bring forward. They're already approved by the bank. Madam Deputy Speaker, infrastructure like the St. Peter's Road. The procurement is completed. The contract is to be signed. I'm telling them to do that before the year end, you know. St. Peter's Road, I want to thank the granny who tried to patch some of the holes. But the road is so bad that even the patching is working because we have patched it multiple times. It's a new road we need in St. Peter's. And again, I say to the people of St. Peter's, you were abandoned by the previous government. They did all the roads around St. Kitts and leave out St. Peter's Road and say it's not a main road. And St. Peter's is the largest area outside of Bastia in the whole of St. Kitts. St. Peter's is larger than Sandy Point and it's larger than Keon, even though these are considered towns. So the patching is not going to work anymore. The road has passed patching stage. This patch now work. It's a new road we want up Monkey Hill.
A new road you're going to get.
And it's a new road we're going to get. But nonetheless, I want to thank the citizen for making a proactive move, but it's not going to work because the road has passed that stage. And I want to thank the Minister responsible for infrastructure and all those involved. The procurement process has been completed and we are on the final stages now, and that road is going to be started very, very, very soon. And the St. Peter's people will be happy with what they will get.
They will come into their houses to do surveys shortly.
Yes. So just now, the surveys are important because they want to make sure they can see. So once they start the heavy work, if something happened to your home, they would know what was before, what was after, so that the resolution can be brought for your home. So the St. Peter's Road, that is coming very, very, very soon. I want to talk about the Connery Playfield, Madam Deputy Speaker. That is coming as well. The process is almost completed. Connery people have been waiting for a very long time. They are going to get their stadium and their changing rooms in very, very short order. The plans are completed. There was a delay because we did a consultation with the people of Connery and they asked for some changes in the plan, and that delayed it a little bit more. The Bastia High School, as was explained, it is now undergoing demolition, and I want to say to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis that we are going down 5 feet. We are going down 5 feet. So if there's any thought of any contamination, anything, we are removing that. 5 feet we are going down. And it's going to be tested again, Madam Deputy Speaker, to make sure that people can be settled in their minds that there is nothing wrong with the school.
No,
Madam?
I'm saying that, but I'm saying you must
Yeah.
don't understand.
Right. Madam Deputy Speaker, the other one is the solar project, farm project, that has been renegotiated. The price has come down. We can buy into it. We had to make those significant changes, Madam Deputy Speaker, because there were too many significant problems disadvantaging our people in terms of price and opportunity to buy into the project. And so we have changed that, and I want to thank the Minister of Energy, the AG, and all those who were involved with this particular project. Madam Deputy Speaker, these are some of the projects that I mentioned. There are a lot more projects that were mentioned by the Minister for Investment, the member from number 6. But these are some of the things. And if you look at the significant amount of money involved in these projects, you'll recognize that we are talking of close to $1 billion. Wow, wow, they say I should ring the bell, Madam Deputy Speaker. The Bastia High School, the new solar farm, all of these for our people here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And I've said, nothing is off limits to the people of Nevis because we have to move together. I am here going on 2 years. So after that, the maximum I have is 8 years, and I'm done. But I got still be fairly young. So while I'm in St. Kitts and Nevis, I want to be able to, you know, live in a nice place as well. Amen. That St. Kitts and Nevis doing well. That is what I want to see. Madam Deputy Speaker, this is a significant amount of investments that we have put together and are coming to fruition. Now, the other issue is that he talked about surplus after surplus. Went back to 2007, when 2001, when he was under the leadership of Dr. Denzel Douglas. Went back there, 2001. Says surplus after surplus after surplus. Madam Deputy Speaker, I'm going back so far. I'm talking about presently. In 2022, when he left in August, he left a deficit. I'm just simply saying that sometimes countries might have to run a deficit. It's understandable. So, let's say something happened, you have a hurricane, and you have to use extra money, you can run a deficit, because you have to rebuild the country. Those things are understandable. It's just like if you're in your house, Madam Speaker, and you have your budget, and something major happened to your home, and you had to go take money from your savings to fix your roof, or go for a loan to fix your roof. That year you suffer a deficit. You spend out more than you're taking. But it's because you had a shock that you had to respond to. Those things happen. This is governance. But what I have a problem with is that you have a deficit. We can see the deficit. We can read the deficit. And then you're going to look me in the eye and tell me I have a surplus. Something has to be wrong with that, Madam Deputy Speaker. You should not be able to mislead the people of St. Kitts and Nevis like that. The numbers show it. So why say it? People would understand if you come to the house and say, look, we had COVID and things were tight and we ran a deficit. That is understandable. That is more realistic than for you to come into this honorable house, look us in our eyes and say to us, you have a surplus, when we can clearly see, those of us who take time to look at the numbers, that it was a deficit. So my issue is not the deficit. Deficits can happen. My issue is looking the people in their eyes and telling them that they have a surplus when it's a deficit. You know what I uncovered too, Madam Deputy Speaker, is that a lot of the bills were not being paid. Every day I get some kind of message from a company in a particular place. The more we look is the more invoices we find in the Ministry of Health. I have invoices from 2016, 2017, ain't paying the people.
That's what he did when he was Minister of Finance.
And that is why he did, hold back the payment so it could look like you have a surplus.
Yeah, that was his...
A lot of small Business persons who have business with the government, a lot of them were not being paid for you to say, I have a surplus. I'm not calling these companies names.
It's cash accounting, not accrual.
You just keep saying, you just keep saying invoice after invoice after invoice, and you're trying to keep up. You're trying to keep up, you're trying to keep up, you're trying to keep up. That is another thing that we're trying to move away from. But I'm simply saying that you never know what can happen, and one can run a deficit. However, that is not the crux of the matter if it is justified. It is saying to the people that you have a surplus when you run a deficit. And so surplus after surplus after surplus misleading the people. So I just wanted to make that clear. Madam Deputy Speaker, I also want to touch on another matter when it comes to the issue of the development bank. I have to say it over and over again because now I want to delve a little bit into the economy. We are expecting a growth this year, Madam Deputy Speaker, and our growth could have been greater, but it is not greater because we opened up late last year. But notwithstanding, we are doing what is necessary to grow the economy. The development bank, when we found it, had a debt of over $250 million, $333 million in debt, Madam Deputy Speaker. The bank was not paying Social Security. Now SIDF, cutting back on how much it paid National Bank, cutting back on how much it paid the central government. No audit since 2018.
And you know who that he focused on last night?
Who's that?
Nevis.
Oh my God.
Calling Nevis dead.
It was responding.
Multiple. I don't know.
Can you imagine, look at this, Madam Deputy Speaker, a debt of over $333 million by the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis. It's collapsed, the bank was collapsing. When we took it over, Madam Deputy Speaker, ain't paying no bills. So he could say he have a surplus. And if you had a surplus, as he was claiming, and you owe Social Security so much money, so why you won't pay Social Security? That is what was happening. You refusing to pay these entities so you could make it look like you had a surplus. So you go on Social Security, you owe them. You owe the SIDF, you owe the central government, you owe National Bank, you owe all sorts of people, and then say you have a surplus. Madam Deputy Speaker, is like a man going around the village. Let me $10, you know. Let me 10 there. Let me 10 there. And then boasting off, but I got $100 right now. But he ain't telling the people how much people he owe. But he just watching the $100 he got in his hand. That is what happened here. In simple terms, Madam Deputy Speaker, taking money from all kind of people and they paying. You ever hear about Bonancy? Bonancy story. By Bonancy, my mother used to tell me about Bonancy. Well, let me tell you what Bonancy did. Everybody had a banana.
Yep.
Except Bonancy. Bonancy asked everybody for half. When Bonancy done, Bonancy had more banana than everybody else. So you know what everybody else do? They take back their half and Bonancy end up with none. That is what happened. Take from everybody. So if everybody take back, you're going to end up with nothing. Madam Deputy Speaker. That is what happened here. Borrowed from everybody and then boasting off about how much you have and not paying your bills, not paying your debt, and leaving a whole bank with a deficit of $333 million, over $250 million, Madam Deputy Speaker. But we have turned around Development Bank. Development Bank now offers loans at 5%. They had a small business loan, small grant loan, student loans, and they're getting back into business. And so now we are able to be paying back our creditors. And we are increasing the amount to make sure that we reach it. So I want to thank the chair of the Development Bank, Mr. Shavon Douglas and his team. I want to also thank the CEO, Mr. L. Matthew, and his work for what they have been doing there at Development Bank to help to really keep the bank afloat. Madam Speaker, I have some good news from the National Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis. The bank is solid like a rock, solid under this government. Good governance at the bank. I want to report to this honorable House that after making a deficit of a loss of about $250 million last year and could not pay dividend, I want to say that the bank has made this year a profit of $50 million. Previously, I said 35, but it's now up to $50 million at the National Bank. And I think that when the board meets, the board would have some very, very, very good news for the members. And I would leave it at that. Madam Speaker, turned around from $250 million loss to $50 million profit. And in speaking to the CEO, we have put new measures in the bank. They have put new measures in the bank that our bank now is being used as a model that other banks in the region should follow. We just attained that type of recognition. That is how far the good governance has gone, even at the level of our statutory bodies and so forth. Madam Deputy Speaker, I want to really say that that's an excellent performance by the National Bank. And we said we will do what we have to do to turn around the financial institutions and re-establish the strong foundation that we have here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Madam Speaker, I'll move on to Social Security. Social Security is solid. We saw that Social Security was able to increase minimum payments. Madam Deputy Speaker, minimum payments. Imagine you had people going home with such little pay. We said, look, give it an increase. We want to do more, but Social Security was able to increase the non-contributory, the contributory minimum, and they were also able to increase funeral grants without asking the people to contribute an extra dollar. Social Security is now back in the green. And I want to thank the chair, Mrs. Harris, and the new managing director there, Mr. Lord, and their teams, and the board that have been working hard at Social Security, and they are coming in 2024 to start a campaign to discuss with the people about the future of Social Security. But I can say that we are back in the green at Social Security, and that is why Social Security was able to make those increased payments. This was part and parcel, Madam Speaker, of getting our people on sustainable, strong footing and making sure that Social Security continues to work for the people. Because for years, these things had not been changed. And I asked them why they have not been changed. Why they have not been changed? It's a good question. Well, change them. Get back to the actuary so that we can do it prudently and responsibly, and tell the actuary to look at these numbers and increase these payments. If he had come back and said, PM, they really can't go because of so-and-so, I think I would have followed his advice and said to the people, it can't be at this time because we have to protect Social Security. But I know the room was there. It's just that nobody took, at that point, the responsibility of going and making sure that this was done. Social Security is our largest program to secure our people. And therefore, we have to make sure that it works for the people. So, why did I go through all of that? I went through all of that to show how solid things are, and that we're not pulling things out of the sky. These things were solidly thought of and put together. Do we have challenges? Of course we have challenges. And therefore, we must work to continue to deal with our challenges. Madam Deputy Speaker, I'm looking at my time, and I'll speak maybe for the next 15 minutes. But I want to delve into the budget. And to say, thank you, the budget, and what is it the budget will achieve. Madam Deputy Speaker, the budget is addressing an issue that Labour has been dealing with since 1932. We are the oldest political party in the English-speaking Caribbean. No political party in Jamaica older than us, nor Barbados, nor Trinidad. I said those, or Guyana, because those are seen as the larger Caribbean countries, and none of them has an active political party older than the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. We in this thing long time. From then we said we will, for the good that we can do, striving for advancement of our people, always. That is why it was said that the major transformational things that took place, in this federation, most of them by far came under a St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party's administration. Why? It is because it is the essence of our party. So from birth, we want to make sure our people are taken care of. That is why we have just been declared a child-friendly hospital. So from the time you are born into a child-friendly hospital. We have been given that designation by PAHO, not us. This is a recognizable recognition that you have to work towards. And I want to thank all the nurses at the hospital, the doctors, for this significant achievement of becoming a child-friendly hospital. Not only that, Madam Deputy Speaker, if you are pregnant as a woman here in St. Kitts, and I'm sure possibly for the same for Nevis, you get free care, prenatal care, if you can't afford it. We have free pregnancy care, prenatal care at the hospital. And if you are high risk, we have a high risk clinic at the hospital. And I see our new PNO is here, who's making significant positive changes, Madam Deputy Speaker, in our nursing care and our health sector, guiding some of these things that I'm speaking about. So you get that prenatal care, if you can't afford. You're born into a baby-friendly hospital. In that hospital, you are guaranteed all your vaccinations. You are guaranteed care from nursing, care from doctors. By the time you're born in St. Kitts and Nevis, it's a safe place to be born in St. Kitts and Nevis. When you leave the hospital, you have a clinic to go to, a doctor who will see you. If you can't afford food, you get food for you and your child. We have a program to protect you. Your child is growing and your child needs to go into preschool. We have just increased the amount that each child gets to go into preschool or you go to a government preschool. Guaranteed, Madam Deputy Speaker, to go into a preschool. When you leave preschool, you go to the primary school. And when you start the primary school, oh God, you're going to get your account of $1,000 with shares. No other country in the Western Hemisphere doing that I know of. Revolutionary move. So that you can start building wealth from 5 years old. Madam Deputy Speaker. You go to school, you can get your iPad, correct?
Yeah. And
The tablet.
Your tablet. Your tablet. And when you get older, you get your laptop. Your school is free. Your lunch is free if you can't afford it. You can get uniform, shoes, and this year we gave the voucher where you could buy your uniform, your shoes, your this, your that. So you are guaranteed that in St. Kitts and Nevis. Along with free medical care. And if you get sick as a child, you have the child fund. That even if you have to go to Timbuktu to save your life, we will provide the funding for you to go Timbuktu to save your life. Safe place to be born. That is why we are putting these things in place, so that our children can be taken care of even before they are born. And when you get to high school is free. Then you get your laptop. You can't afford your exam, we pay for them. You want uniforms, we pay for them if you can't afford them. You have no excuse not to be in school. That is why some people say, so why is it you don't have some violence in St. Kitts and Nevis? You ain't got no reason to have it. There's no other country that guarantees people like this country. There's always something that will be there for you to take care of you. This is Labour's idea of taking care of you before you're born, all the way until you transition into the next life.
It's Labour's legacy.
That's our legacy. When you finish high school, you want to go to college. What happened to college?
Free.
College is free.
And scholarships coming in, left, right, and...
Scholarships can't done. Just now we're going to have Southern University here on the 26th of December.
And I want to announce, so just get the WhatsApp while we...
Oh my God, he just got the WhatsApp. Scholarships all over, even to the United States, wherever. Scholarships for our people. Economic costs for all of our students. So you go to college for free. When you finish college, you can decide to go to university. A lot of scholarships are available. Right now we want to create a desk for scholarship. You just go to the Ministry of Education and say, what scholarship is there? Because our resource, our most important resource is our human resource. I love to see when young people go to study. When you go to college, if you want to go to a college and you have to pay something, we have reduced the interest on student loan from 9% to 5%, and while you're studying, you don't have to pay. Madam Speaker, if you come from a family that does not have the financial resources, you can't ask your mother or father or guardian to pay interest while you're studying. Where do you get the money from? That is why we say you take the money, and when you take the money, you don't have to pay until 4.25 years after. So lower payments and delayed, and that interest is not going to accumulate. That interest is totally forgiven to the tune of about $15,000. So easing the burden for our citizens here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And then after you would have studied, then you want to choose a career path. That is why we have the small business ministry, one stop. You see all of this fit in? If you don't like academics, you could go dance, you could go sing, you could do this. That's why we have the creative economy. If you ain't want all of that, you could be a farmer, and we are creating the cannabis, medicinal cannabis industry where you can...
Of that $50 million that we laid out.
Exactly. Get some of that $50 million. That is how we are setting it up. So even before a Kittitian vision is born, the pathway for a successful life is created. But our people have to be responsible as well. Because you can carry, as my grandmother used to say, the donkey to the trough, but you can't make it drink. Can't make it drink. But at least you provide the trough and you provide the water. So all you have to do now is make your effort. All you have to do now is drink. And that is why we want to set up programs in the schools that even if you have people who are dropping through the cracks, you don't let them just drop through the cracks. You have to intervene, Madam Deputy Speaker. And those who don't want to do academia, sing, dance in the creative economy, become farmers, they can become technicians. That is why we now have the TVET certified persons and trainers of trainers for the TVET program, so they can be certified in in different areas of the vocational field. That is how we are setting it up, Madam Deputy Speaker, so you have a good quality of life even before you're born, by taking care of the mother all the way to the end. And as you go through life, you have freedom in St. Kitts and Nevis. You can choose who you want. Nobody telling you to choose. You can choose to have children. No children, that's your choice. You choose. You have that freedom in St. Kitts and Nevis. As you go through life, you have the opportunity to own a piece of land, to build a house. That is why we make houses available, and we make the mortgage low. It's the lowest we ever had mortgage. So you could get a house. We bring in renewable energy, so energy could be cheap. We're giving you water, so you could get water 24/7. We adjust the price of the land. Giving you an opportunity to live that Kittitian vision dream. And then as you go through life, you become sick, you want to be taken care of. While we are taking care of the elderly, there is a gap, Madam Deputy Speaker. And this is a serious question, a serious issue that I would have to discuss with our people, as the Prime Minister and as the Minister of Health. Because we now are facing the fact that we now have to consider national health insurance to guarantee. As we guarantee education, we also want to guarantee health care. But our people will also have to join with the government and other institutions to guarantee that health care for our people. I don't want you to get sick and then you don't know. You're around town walking with a sponsor sheet. Yeah? Your surgery costs $50,000 and you got a sponsor sheet with $5,000. Just like how we take care of children, we're not in a position to take care of the whole population, but if we sit and have a conversation in the framework, we can create the second largest social safety net here in St. Kitts and Nevis, the National Health Insurance. And we'll have a serious discussion during 2024 as to what is a way in which we can do it. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, we want to create those certainties for our people. But we also understand that climate change will affect our people. That is why we came up with the Sustainable Island State Plan as a practical way of dealing with it. So we're not leaving anything out. So what we are doing is not being done in a vacuum. It's a clear and clean strategy. Why am I carrying you from before birth all the way through your life? And then later on in life, you have your children, they grow, you decide to move on, you retire. When you retire, you're supposed to have a social security there for you. And you're supposed to have a pension plan there for you so that you don't retire in poverty. That is why I said we must give our GAE workers their pension. Those are the crossing guards, the cleaners, the security people, those who are working for minimum wage. In this system, the government system, we are creating the opportunity for them to have a pension. The nurses, aides, those people who are often forgotten, why they should be forgotten. We are now going to set up in 2024 the GAE pensions plan, and I want to thank Mr. Bratcher at the Treasury, who is leading the committee on this one. And I think he's here as well. People contributing to national development. And so that is why we decided that Social Security had to increase the minimum payments, because people out there, some of them work all their lives. For example, the sugar workers from the 80s and some of them from the 90s and 2000s, they work for minimum wage or less than minimum wage. Some of them used to carry home $50. I remember my grandmother used to work in the sugar cane field. When crop off, I go and go pick up, she pay $30. What is this? $30 only could get 1 day a week. She said, boy, I'm going to vote Labour. Labour all she life, vote Labour. Labour get in, she get 4 days a week, she get a little more money, so I could have benefited a little more with a little bit. These people work hard, Madam Deputy Speaker. And because they contribute little, because they work for little, they were getting that little bit of money. That is why I said to Social Security, increase the minimum payment. So these people could take home a little bit more. So from January, they're going to take home a little bit more. That is why we did it that way, Madam Deputy Speaker, because we have to take care of people even when they're retired, because they would have contributed to the development of St. Kitts and Nevis. And Madam Deputy Speaker, like everything else, we have to deal with the reality. Life comes to an end, and we all have to transition at some point. It's a reality. Yeah. And that is why I said to them, can you increase the funeral grant to the families? Because you don't want people to have to intern their loved ones and then left with some massive debts. So that is why even after you have departed, we still want to make sure that in that state you ain't leaving back a whole lot of debt for your family to deal with. And that is why we say increase the funeral grant, so we can help to ease the burden. At this time, it has been increased from $2,500 to $3,500. So, Madam Speaker, Deputy Speaker, that is why we say that Labour takes care of you before you are born and even after you are gone, because that is who we are as a party. Before you are born and even after you are gone. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, if you allow me, just let me run through a couple of my ministries quickly. Will not take long, because as I am the Prime Minister and presented the budget, Minister of Finance, I have other ministries that I would just like to mention. And so we'll speak to health. As you know, we have now renal transplant in St. Kitts and Nevis, and we are becoming a center of excellence for renal care. We will treat other people from around the region, and I will extend in short order the offer for others from the OECS to come to St. Kitts and Nevis to get renal transplant. The other thing, Madam Deputy Speaker, at the hospital right now, we are doing significant renovations. If you go there, you'll see that we are planting palm trees, we're lighting the parking area, we are doing the foyer, the entrance to the hospital. We're going to make it look nice so that your entrance into the hospital can be very pleasant. We are also in this present moment putting in AC condition in the medical ward and the surgical ward, because with climate change they're too hot. The ACs are presently working. We have also resolved a lot of the water issues We have dealt with a lot of the toilet issues that needed to be dealt with. We have also dealing with the roof of the morgue and some other areas, Madam Deputy Speaker. We have the most doctors ever at the hospital, the most specialists ever at the hospital. We are going to reopen the private ward. The new CT scan is on its way. It will be here in the first quarter. We have already identified the technician to go to get extra training to operate it. The MRI building has already been procured. That will start. We'll get our MRI next year as well. The CT scan will come before the MRI after. And we are on our way to become a 4-minute city and to become a center of excellence for cardiac care. So healthcare in St. Kitts and Nevis will be spoken of. We'll create 2 centers of excellence, one for renal care and one for cardiac care, and we will offer that service to our brothers and sisters in the OECS. Madam Deputy Speaker, with respect to the CBI, as I spoke before, we of course have done some new regulations with respect to the CBI. The regulations are solid, our partners are happy, and we are looking to see our CBI program in the new atmosphere that we are in. However, we have done everything to solidify it and to protect it. And that is why I'm saying the protection of the CBI is really the responsibility of every Kittitian division, every member on the government side and every member on the opposition side. Why? Because this really is helping us significantly in our development and to make sure we can accomplish what we seek to accomplish. And so when I hear people bashing the program, I really am very, very disturbed, especially people who understand how important this program is to us. And so, Madam Deputy Speaker, I spoke on that. With respect to national security, I spent a good amount of time on that already and on the new program, the Elevate program as well. And so, Madam Deputy Speaker, I took the time to go through step by step, making sure that we answer any questions they might be asking. And there's another question that I want to answer, Madam Deputy Speaker, and that is the question of salaries. Because they're sending around some stuff saying that, oh, we're in here to increase the salary. We made a promise to the people since in the campaign that we're going to increase the minimum wage. What salary they might talk about? And now they want to trivialize it and talk about all this what was done is because we want to carry up salary. Let me set the record straight. Again, Madam Deputy Speaker, we have the file, so why lie to the people when you know that we can simply draw the file? And I will address it now, Madam Speaker. In 2018, the Salaries Review Commission was established for the first time by the Unity Administration, and a report dated September 30th, 2019 was prepared and submitted to the Governor General, who submitted it to the then Prime Minister, Dr. Timothy Harris. 2018. I don't remember if Labour was in power in 2018. From my recollection, let me stretch it. You were sitting over there. We weren't here, right? No. And this is 2018, correct? All right. By law, Section 4(2) of Salaries Review Commission Act, Cap 22.14, the report of the Commission shall be submitted to the Governor General, who shall forward a copy of the report to the Prime Minister for presentation to the Cabinet and for laying as soon as possible after presentation to the Cabinet on the table of the National Assembly. By account of all the ministers who were fired, a lot of people got fired by. Wow. The then Prime Minister never disclosed to the Cabinet that he received the report and never tabled it in Parliament.
I've never seen it.
Never seen it. I'd never seen the report. And so, by law, it really should have gone to Cabinet. Again, breaking the law. And up and down talking about salary. Who was over there talking about salary? I think it was a member from number 5 and number from number 7.
5 and 7.
I mean, come on.
But number 5 wanted, you know.
Oh, he wants it. Oh, okay.
Begging with him more clothes.
Okay. He wants it.
Yeah,
Okay.
begging with his more clothes.
They are who brought it here. By account of all the ministers, they didn't know about it. However, in the 2022 estimate, we did not do it. That was done in 2021 for 2022. We were not here. The amount allocated to be to enumerate members of Parliament increased 84% from 486,000 to 895,000. This relates to allowances only. It is right here. Right here. The estimated right here, Madam Deputy Speaker. This was done for the 2022 budget, which means it was passed in 2021 for 2022. The increase. So why go around telling people that we put increase when it's so easy to see that you are the one who did it?
The 85%, which comes from the budget that he passed.
He passed this budget and quoting what he passed. I mean, this is so,
That's just for the allowance.
you know, just for the allowances, because we can go down for the other payments. I said that because if you go and you look at section 3, ministry summary, portfolio, private legislative services for the Federation, you go down, responsibility center, parliament, permanent secretary, officer in charge, permanent secretary, goals, global objectives to exercise the legislative functions of the government as directed by the Constitution of, and you go down, financial summary. And then you go down, you will see it right in there. And Madam Deputy Speaker, it is right here. This study started in 2018. He refused to bring it to Cabinet. Cabinet has not seen it. Maybe after he fired a whole lot of people, he probably brought it to Cabinet to rush it through. I don't know. Well, he was there from 2022, so he did not tell them. And you see the increase there, the 84% increase. He did it. And come tell the country that we give such a beautiful package to the people because we want an increase in salary. And he did it. Right here. Right here. The people can see. Right there. Also in the 2022 estimates, the amount allocated to personal emoluments and salaries in all of the ministries were increased by various amounts to accommodate an increase in ministers' salaries and a 10% increase in public servant salaries. You remember that. However, the then Prime Minister never triggered the public servant salary increase until June 2022.
So the increase for the ministers were in the line ministries, and the increase for public servants, it was already in the...
They put it in. It was already in the budget after the unity administration collapsed. So after the collapse, he enacted that the increase be paid because it had already been in the estimates and passed. So the then Prime Minister's clear intention was for ministerial salaries and allowances to be increased in 2022 in line with the 2019 report. It's here. In 2008, public sector wages increased by 7 points, so that's sometime. But I'm just going to stop it there for now. There are, of course, more information to this. So what we are simply saying, he's the one who brought it. He's the one who put it in there. We met it in there.
And we made a commitment.
And we did not go and increase our salaries. We said, how can you think about increasing ministers' salaries now when the people's salary has not changed? The people need, let's concentrate on the people.
The minimum wage.
The minimum wage and all of that.
Pension.
And Madam Deputy Speaker, there's an anomaly because now you have permanent secretaries who are making more money than ministers. I don't know if you all know that. There's a serious anomaly. There are permanent secretaries making more money than ministers at this present moment, which is a serious, serious anomaly. That is unheard of, actually. That is a serious anomaly. However, he brought it. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, I wanted to clear up that. The other thing I wanted to clear up is that the member from number 5 again came in and talked about procurement and so forth. There is a company called SKN Metals. Is owned, and without calling the owner for it, I'll leave it here for now, but just to say that I have this file. There's a lot of files I have. And that is why, you know, sometimes you should know when to just be quiet. Yes. We see here that a company got $5.4 million from Skellig. One company. And no procurement. Okay, let's say, Lord, when you look at all of these, you say, Lord, somebody else couldn't get something? Give this person some, but give somebody else some, no? Shape the thing a little bit. And I have this file. Madam Deputy Speaker, this was under the leadership of the member from number 5. Also UDC, Madam Deputy Speaker, the hot. I don't know. I would say to the member from number 5, ignore the member from number 7. Why you want to come in here and act like that? Why? A gentleman who has disrespected you, call you the worst names in the world. We have all of these documents, and you come in here grandstanding. And know when you got the blade. Now, when I was in Monkey growing up small, a man used to say, man, know when you got the handle, and know when you got the blade. So when you got the blade, take it easy, because things might turn. But you don't come here come talk about procurement when I have this from Skellep. You don't come here come talk about procurement when I have this from Bastia High School. You don't come here come talk about procurement when I have this from UDC. I mean, come on. But Madam Deputy Speaker, I will leave it there for now. I'll leave it there for now. I hope that today serve as some sort of understanding. We'll see where that goes. We'll see where that goes. Madam Deputy Speaker, I want to finally wrap up the wrap-up and to say that this budget is a transformational budget that touches a broad cross-section of our people. A number of the matters here, our people would have been asking for them for some time, but we were prudent to do the necessary groundwork, and I see the Honorable His Excellency Sam Kanda, who has done tremendous work on the minimum wage. With his committee, brought in an expert also from overseas. He's now been appointed by the cabinet to be the lead on the task force for productivity, the productivity task force, contributing significantly still in the development of St. Kitts and Nevis. His experience, his know-how, his love for the working people is what is really being demonstrated through this labor of love work that he's doing. And we want to thank him very much. That's why minimum wage. Madam Deputy Speaker, no other country in the Caribbean at this time can increase the minimum wage like we have done. That is something for us to celebrate. This is for the people. Those who work for the least among us, they are the ones who are benefiting. Madam Deputy Speaker, we went further and we did a civil servants increase of 8%. 3% we explained will go towards the pension fund. They will say an increase of 5%, which over time will be much more than the double salary at some point in the future. But we didn't stop there. We gave them a bonus. In addition to that, Madam Deputy Speaker, we went on. We did not stay there. We went to Social Security, and we asked Social Security to adjust the minimum payments to help especially the least among us in terms of earnings. Madam Deputy Speaker. And then we went on. We did not leave it there. We went and we said we will start that children's fund, growth fund, wealth creation is what we are speaking about. We want to break the cycle of poverty in St. Kitts and Nevis. Every child. So if there's a lady out there with 5 children, every single one of them between 5 and 18 will also benefit from this. Whether you're in St. Kitts or whether you're in Nevis. So you got people in Brown Hill, Nevis, Gingerland, Cotton Ground. Well, I heard a name when I was in Canada, but I can't remember the name right now.
Place in Nevis. Ramsbury.
Ramsbury, Nevis.
That's where my grandmother used.
Exactly. Yes, that place there. They too will benefit. You come to St. Kitts, the children over here will benefit as well. Nowhere else in the Caribbean has an initiative like that initiated. And what we are going to do is we're going to make some of our companies public. For example, the cable, we're going to divest the shares, some of shares, and they would have opportunities to invest in those shares so that they become owners of our companies from children. And the dividend that they have will go to the account. And so they will have passive income, and when they start, so they start life with something. Madam Deputy Speaker, we have to be serious about breaking the cycles of poverty here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Just giving $500 a month ain't gonna break no poverty. We have to accept that as a fact. We have to find ways to increase people's wages. A quote was read by His Excellency Sam Kondo when he came to cabinet. And I can't remember the quote word for word, but I know the quote said that when you increase people's wages, that's one of the best ways to lift them out of poverty. The essence of the quote. The ILO director said that. And I believe in that. And that is why we say we have to increase wages, pensions, benefits, and not only for them, but for the children as well, so that they can start building wealth from early. And we are setting up, we have a committee, and we have reputable organization as part of the committee that is supposed to be in place for all of our people because it's non-political, non-partisan, to advise on how we can really create an atmosphere of wealth building creation, and that will bring financial education to our children. How to budget, how to manage money, how to invest, small business knowledge, our business knowledge. That is what we want our young people to start getting involved in, so that they can build wealth, so that a life of crime is not attractive to them. Can't leave our children and young people behind. We have to get them. This is how we're going to break the cycle. And we hope with that knowledge, they can take the knowledge home to the parents, help the parents to budget, tell the parents how to start a little business and save money. I know man used to wear pig up monkey, people used to laugh after him, you know? Boy, but if you didn't want to see the man account. Man was a businessman. I know people who sell tray and do well. People who bake cakes and do well. Have to get in the mindset of how to create business. You online, what type of business you can. You have your laptop and you have your tablet. How can I use a program to create something online that can help something to start a little business there as well? We want our people to start thinking that way. How can I be innovative? That is what we are trying to create here in St. Kitts and Nevis. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, as you can see, this budget wasn't just about no double salary. Those who are thinking just double salary, they're living in the past. We are thinking more than that. That is what we are doing here on this side. Innovation. The budget caught them off guard. We're out there running double salary, double salary. They know that we were planning all along to bring a comprehensive plan to help to reframe the financial architecture in St. Kitts and Nevis to benefit everybody. Even businesses benefited because the taxes we did not allow to go back up. It would not be a tax increase, it would just be allowed to go back up. Almost all the other countries in the Caribbean allow their COVID tax breaks to go back. We have maintained them to help our businesses. Our businesses are also benefiting from the SKNIS subsidy, Madam Deputy Speaker. They are benefiting from it as well. So the business community has also benefited from this plan. No one left out. No one left out. And so when you see them out there trying to look for something here and something here to grab at straws, people just laughing at them. You're there for 7 years, and what have you brought to transform St. Kitts and Nevis? 7.5 years. You left us without water, left us without energy. And those are two very basic things. And if you can guarantee water and energy to our people, you're not thinking about building a real country. Madam Deputy Speaker. And that is why I want to say to our people here in St. Kitts and Nevis that we have a good opportunity to build a sustainable island state, create the first one on this planet, and allow it to be a model for the rest of the world. The world is taking us seriously because it has been put together well. And I want to thank the Minister of Sustainable Development for leading on that. Allow me, Madam Deputy Speaker, to really thank this team that has been working tremendously hard. You hear me thank them over and over. You don't know how light it is that you're looking forward to go to Cabinet. Because you're meeting people there. Don't think we agree on everything, you know. We have a serious discussion in there. But the premise of the discussion is always how can we do better for the people. That's always the premise of the discussion. So you already know that your colleague is coming with good intentions. We're going to just work out the itty-gritty or the nitty-gritty, as we say it here in local parlance. When you have to come to work in an environment like that, it helps. Your mind is clear. You think deep. You can come with transformational things, transformative things, as we have done with this budget. That is how we function.
About us having a little downtime on the weekend.
Oh.
Together as a cabinet.
Yes, they came by me on the weekend. We had our gift exchange and so forth. We did that as a cabinet.
We can't say the gifts, though.
Yeah, we can't say the gifts. We're going to say what the gifts are. No, the gifts we got to keep a little bit private. But we had our gift exchange. But we had our gift exchange for the Christmas as well. And you know, we have had multiple retreats. So don't think that India is always mushy. We have serious discussion over serious things. But we are seeking to see how we can do better for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And so at the end, the conclusion is that, because the intention is always that. And so I can't thank each and every one of them enough, not only for that cabinet, but for their work. They're all accomplished in their various ministries. And they came as accomplished people, and they are lending their skill, talent, competence to really develop their ministries, and by extension, their nation. And so I want to say, yes, and I want to say to all of them, thank you all very, very much for, on behalf of a grateful nation, for your deep work, and the two ambassadors, some who visit the cabinet also, and to say that I really appreciate your deep work and your extensive work, your competent work, your dedication to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. This could not have been possible without your support. And therefore, I want to wish all of them well, wish their families well, and may they have a blessed Christmas and a happy New Year. I also want to take this opportunity to say to the members opposite that they're part of the House, and without an opposition, you cannot have a parliament, really. And we, of course, have our differences, but one of the things I notice is that we have found common ground in here on things of national interest. And that is how it really should be. Where there are things of national interest, all of us should really seek to work together to make sure that we can have the best position for St. Kitts and Nevis. I want to thank also the Speaker and you, Deputy Speaker, who is also a member. I want to thank the Clerk, the Deputy Clerk, the officers who are here with us as they rotate to make sure that the procedure is carried out. I want to thank you all very, very much for your hard work, the Sergeant at Arms, and for the work that you do here. I want to thank those from the media who make sure that the information gets out. And I want to thank those who are our sign language persons to make sure that the members of the deaf community can definitely be a part of the parliamentary proceedings. I want to also thank those who come into the gallery from time to time. I see Ras Aya is here, Ras Aya visits, and he let his opinion be known. But I want to thank those who come here from time to time. I also see Advisor Edinburgh, who does come from time to time. And I think I've highlighted the others who are here all the time. And all the other members who have visited today, I want to thank you all for coming and being a part of this. And for our citizens, I want to thank you for the confidence that you have placed in me and the confidence that you have placed in this team to work tirelessly hard on your behalf. And I want to wish all a Merry, Merry Christmas. Be happy, and a happy, happy and prosperous New Year. I see the stenographer is here. I want to highlight, I think this is her second visit. Yes, and she's here, the typist. Welcome to be a part of the Parliament as well. So to all, I finally say, have a Merry, Merry Christmas. May it please you, Madam Deputy Speaker.